Guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Ladies, and fellas, welcome to the Magic Guys. This is episode 244, and we're here, we're live. We're coming in strong. Because we're about to go into a crazy season, and to my left, we've got Nick K.
That's right, folks. I'm Nick K. Daddy Doug is, I think he's going to get some cigarettes. He said he'll be back. I don't know.
He's gone to get the milk.
Getting milk.
He said, I'm going to go drop the kids off at the pool, whatever that means. But no, he's busy. He's busy working in Trick Supply. This is news for him to share, but they've got a new brick and mortar physical store he can go into now, and he's famous, and there's a whole thing. So he's living his best life. And someone else living their best life is our buddy Herbert here, coming in with the $10.
Oh my word!
But thank you so much. That's going to pay for our milk that Doug's going to get and our cereal. And thanks to everyone who's actually here in the chat. We have Thomas Conger, good to see you. Tim Askin, Pasha, good to have you here, bud. Good to see you. Scotty Link, Gutbuster Mike. Hey, man, he's so much fun, that cat. And yeah, Scotty Link, everyone there. And we have Rude B. Howdy. Good to see you, folks. Again, this is the Magic Guys Live. We do have a chat. So if you have any questions, you can pop them into the chat. We answer everything live. And we do it unrehearsed because we are professionals.
We're so professional that I just got to say, a thing that people would normally be annoyed at, we were secretly like fangirling about. When we re-listened to our episode to see how we, did we ask the guests good questions and things like that, Nick and I, we quickly jumped to our chat and we're like, oh my God, I was listening to our episode on Spotify and I heard a freaking ad play during the episode. And I'm like, we've made it, son. An ad playing, that means I think like the real analytics, I'll be honest, it says that we're making 18 cents per episode on Spotify from ads. So, I don't want to, that's plus Herbert's $10, look out. We're going to be retiring from gigs soon.
1018. That's going to pay for our jet to Vegas. Remember we talked about getting a jet to Vegas so many times?
Yeah, that's right. Dude, that's got to be a one day thing. Like out of the three of us that make it like super platinum big one day, has to pay for that PJ, as the kids call it. And if it's Doug, it means he's got to fly from the US back here to pick us up to then go back again, which would be sick.
It would be fun. We'll do the math. We'll figure out how many seats. I think we did the math one time. It's 20 seats, but maybe we can do like everyone buys a ticket and we all go as a posse. We all stay in a penthouse. It'll be really, really fun. But
yeah.
Herbert
as well. He received our shirt. So Herbert, who has donated the $10 today, what we did was we sent him one of our new Trust the Sleight Tees, which he's saying it made it. So that's fantastic. Herbert, how does it fit? Is it a good shirt? Is it good quality? If it isn't, I'm going to just hide your reply from everyone. But you can see Nick wearing it right now. Check that out. Look at that.
See?
Got the muscles. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working out.
It's a bit of an homage to those who spend their nights practicing the sleight so that they don't let them down when they are in the gigs, in the trenches. And if you do want to grab one, there's the little QR code. Scan that little puppy. You can be cool like us too.
Yeah, you can throw it into the bucket along with the 18 cents we make each episode. Thank you. So,
dude, we're making tens of dollars. But no, obviously it was never about that. We love you guys anyway, but obviously it would be great to make millions. Imagine if you could just podcast and give advice and it would just be so cool. But anyway, nonetheless, put that 18 cents to the side, skip the ad, Pasha. I don't care. It's fine. We don't need it. But today it is all about giving you advice. And something that we're very seasoned at is going through this cycle at the end of the year where just like, you're used to doing 1, 2, 3 events per week to now just doing like every single day or multiple gigs a day right now. And it can be a little intense. And I'm the first to admit that in the past, I had not taken this seriously and I had forgotten to put gigs in my calendar, and then getting the gut-wrenching call from a client saying, "Where are you?" And it's because you're at a different event because you double booked and didn't realize. So trust me when I say you want to avoid and just make sure this stuff is planned out. And that's kind of what we're here to go through today, with a little preparation guide about how you can be the most prepared for your gigs and just soak up as much goodness from it. Nick, are you ready for this season? Have you got your Arctic cooling vest ready?
I haven't prepared it yet, but it is on standby. I have to put it in water to activate it. I'm keeping an eye on the forecast. The moment it starts to hit the 35-degree sort of mark, that's when it needs to do that. So I guess that probably even leads into our first point. Should we get into point number 1?
Let's do it. Do I have my little button ready for these different points? I think I do. And I think it is. Give me a second.
Talking about being prepared. Just nailed it, bud. You were killing it.
So I think point number one I have written down is stay stocked up. And when I say stocked up, I mean make sure you've got all your playing cards that you're going to go through for these gigs. Nick, are you typically a gig man, or are you using one deck for like ages and ages?
I'm a pack a gig smoker for sure. And right. I always have 4 in total in my kit for every gig that I do. Reason being is that sometimes I do more than one event a day. And outside of that, sometimes you'll be performing and, you ask a spectator to take a card, they shove it into like, a wet patch that's on the table and, also, and so the card's destroyed, the deck's destroyed, and you just want to get a fresh deck in that gig. So it's like you got 4 of them, you got backups, and I'm that guy that everyone calls and says, "Do you have any bricks? Do you have any bricks?" And it's like, "Yes, I do have bricks." Why? Prepared.
You're prepared. So and right now we're about to come into Black Friday. So if there's ever been a time to take advantage of stocking up, it's this week, because this is the time where things can still make it to you in time, like any extra things you have to order. So you have to get on your bicycle playing cards. I literally just had a box right here. I literally just had 2 bricks arrive yesterday. And I'm going to order more through Black Friday. So that's number 1, is playing cards. Second would be flash paper. If you're like us and you like a bit of visual candy in your gigs, make sure you have enough flash paper. It's just, we don't think about it. And I'll go to grab a sheet and be like, oh, it's actually empty. And then I go to hit up my dealer and be like, hey, do you have 20 sheets I can buy from you? But so have a look at your inventory. Business cards as well. Like, I give out business cards. Are you giving out business cards, like the physical ones, Nick?
Well, yeah, not only am I handing out my business cards for my events, I also work for an abundance of agencies. So I make sure that I stock up on their cards to ensure that I'm representing them appropriately.
Yeah. And Gutbuster Mike has a good question here, which I hadn't considered. Do you work well with a fresh out-of-the-box deck of cards, or do you need to work them in?
I work really well with a deck straight out of the box. And I think because I do it so often that using an old gummy deck is a bit of a struggle for me. People will say things like, if we're having a jam session and I pull out just a pack of standard bikes and they're like, ew, why aren't you using orbits? Why aren't you using this? Why aren't you using whatever else? And I go, because I'm a worker. And they're like, what? And I go, but that's an awful deck. I go, is it good enough for an hour, 2 hours? Go, yeah, for 2 hours, it's fine. I go, well, that's all I need it for. But I'm not going to go spend $30 on a deck and then destroy it after like 1 gig. So, yeah. So I'm just so used to it that, yes, I can take a deck fresh out the box and survive.
And if you know me, and I think you do, when I'm putting mine into the stack that I work with, that involves riffle shuffling the whole deck 4 times, plus a whole bunch of other movements and reversing cards. So they are all getting some attention, the playing cards, I guess is what I mean. So they're all getting air put into them. They're not just staying straight from fresh in the deck. So they are getting like handled enough that now they're super smooth and new, but they are their own individual cards now. They've been broken up a little bit. So I hope that helps. I think what I used to do was I would at least run through the deck twice, right? So I would just go through every single card and do that again. And then at least that way, and then I would, shuffle them. So at least then they're sort of like warmed up a little bit. And you can do the whole thing of rubbing the edges like on your pants or whatever, or on a cloth just to get the rough bits out of the way. Sure. But in this season, when you're just going from gig to gig, you sometimes don't have that luxury.
Okay, which is good because so far, like everyone's saying that they're ticking off sort of everything we're making mention. Like Scotty P just said that like I've ticked off all the boxes you mentioned, which is kind of good. So let's keep going with the list and see what else needs to be prepared, because I made a little list, and I think that when you're saying, well, I put it on the list of like, do you have enough?
Yes, that's it. Do you have enough? Yeah.
Do you have
cards,
enough? Do you have enough
paper?
Flash paper,
business cards, batteries,
for
gimmicks,
good one.
Microphones. And the thing I'll say about business cards, I almost was caught out, and luckily my business card place I order from were able to get me an emergency batch of 500 cards for this season. But they also introduced me to a new style of digital business card that I wasn't aware of. So they put this as a QR code on my business card, which I will actually be able to show you the physical thing when it arrives in a week or so. But just very quickly, this is a thing that if I run out of business cards, or someone doesn't want to take my card and they just want to take a photo, which sometimes happen, I can give them this QR code, and I'll put it on the screen as well in case you're watching this and you just want to go straight to it and see what it looks like. But for those playing live on YouTube, when they scan this code, it opens up this, which is kind of like a link tree. It's kind of like a landing page. But the extra benefit that I've never seen before is if I scroll down, it has all the different links to everything I do, YouTube, Instagram, email me, my WhatsApp, all that stuff. But it also has a button to just instantly save my contact. So if I'm low on business cards, I can give them the code for them to scan, open this up, and they can just hit save contact. And now they've got all my info automatically. And so this has all the important stuff. So technically I could do gigs without a business card, but all of my cards now have this on it. And so it's just a new thing that I'm adapting into this season just to see what it's like. If it helps, it might not, who knows, but it can't help less, So that's my little tidbit of something new I'm trying, and I'm sticking to it. Pasha says, now I have all your info. Yes, well, you know what? I'm glad that the millions of people watching now have my info, and I'm happy for it.
Yeah, I want to circle back. I want to circle back to what you said about batteries, because it's an important thing. If you are someone who uses devices, but also just have a battery charging bank, just to ensure that like your phone has everything it needs to as well. I've been caught out a couple of times where I've had to do shows out of town, and if you ever end up in a situation where like your phone is kind of on the cusp of where reception is available, your phone can kind of exhaust itself trying to get a signal. Like you'll be there for a 1 hour gig, but then look back at your phone and it's like, oh, I was 70%. Now I got like 10 because it was just like exhausting itself trying to find signals. So having a battery pack, super handy as well, because every now and again you might need to charge whatever devices you may use, if you do use them, and you want to make sure you have the appropriate charging cable. So it might seem like a bit of a cost outlay, but it is something that you will use. It might cost you $60, for example, but you'll be able to charge your phone 10 times off it. So can recommend as far as batteries go. Be prepared in that sense.
Scotty P is saying he was gifted a battery pack by a client earlier this year, and it has been invaluable. Yeah, you will never not need one. And when using Audio Ape for the shows that I'll do when I'm queuing my music, that runs off a power bank. So if that goes flat and I turn up to a gig, I now have no music. And so having two of them, or at least checking the night before, so crucial. But okay, so that's it. Do you have enough of? is our advice for that one.
Well, I got a few more things you might want to consider.
Oh, absolutely. Bring it on. Can
Like-
I reverse that sound? Okay, there we go.
Do you have enough clothes? So hear me out. I know some guys that like are very costume driven, but they only have like 2 shirts. Maybe go buy some more shirts, okay? Because you may not have time to get the washing done or whatever else, and you don't want to arrive at the gig smelling exactly like you do. Seb.
Yeah, undershirts, especially. If you can't afford the $100 dress shirts or whatever, at least get you some undershirts so that they are the thing copping most of the sweat. Nick, what are the armpit soaker things that you have?
I
the heat?
posted them in
Do
the
they have a name?
Yeah. I forget. It's like it starts with K.
We'll
I
put it
want
in
to
the
say
Discord, but-
Kleins. Yeah, it's
It's
Yeah,
like a holster, but for your pits. Like you put this thing on and these sponge. It's a better thing than that, but I'll just say sponge for now. Go under your armpits.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
soaks up the
sponge,
sweat.
but it's got a plastic in it. Like it's a type of thing that you would see like on bed sheets, for example. You know what I mean? So that like if anyone were to wet the bed, so to speak, it wouldn't kind of go through. But it's just covers your entire armpit and like section so that you can perspire without destroying your suits. It will get a little, I'm gonna say the gross word moist, because of like just the heat generation, but you're not actually perspiring into it. You're not putting your like salts of your body into it where you'll have that like awful white ring around your black suit. You know what I mean? So that's another thing as well. Another thing I want to make mention is pants. I actually had a magician. I got some feedback from a client because one of the guys who works for me, but they were saying like he didn't come in his suit, like he just wore this like different thing, and I was like, okay, dude, like we have a dress code, like what's your deal? And he went, oh, I split my pants and I just couldn't wear these pants with that jacket. I look stupid. And I was like, right. You only have one pair of pants? Yes. Maybe, hear me now, like you might split your pants, get a whole bunch of pants or get a few pants, So
absolutely buy bloody pants. And it might sound silly, but when you're doing 3 events in one day, like you absolutely have to take a second dress shirt with you. Maybe switch up the jacket just for airing purposes, and a second pair of pants. I always keep a second pair in my boot of my car anyway, like just in case. Like you might spill something on it, God forbid. you can't find a bathroom and you're on the highway, and you just never know when you need another pair of pants, and it can't help.
I was doing a show out of town last week, and I caught up with a friend of mine, and he was like, wash up and go do your gig. I said, cool deal. So I actually had a quick shave before I went to hit the gig. I didn't realize I actually cut my neck. And then I put my white shirt on, right? I did that, go into the bedroom, got dressed, put my white shirt on, and then as I'm getting ready to leave, he's like, yo. And I had blood on my shirt. And then I went, okay. Thank goodness I had 2 white shirts. Even though I was doing 1 gig that day, still brought a second shirt for that reason. So
so plan your day. If you're running to 2 different gigs and it's hot, like Alex in the chat just said, you best believe I had a second full change in the car. Plan for that.
Well, you kind of bring up a good point as well. And I think that like when you are traveling, we should probably talk about travel times.
That's definitely in here as well. Yeah. So let's jump to the traveling side of things. 2 things I want to talk about is consider pre-booking and looking up where you're going to park at these events. And then the second one is pre-plan your driving routes. So let's get into that, Nick. What's Melbourne like with driving, first of all? It's a bit different to Brisbane. I think it's a bit more chaotic.
It totally is, in a sense that like we're a lot more condensed where we are. And so I find that when you're in Brisbane, like your traffic isn't like condensed going from like red light to red light. It's basically like all on the freeways and the highways that you guys have. So it's basically like same travel time, but you can travel much greater distances. So for example, I'm 5 kilometers from the city, right? That's like 3 mile for our American listeners. Now, for me to drive to the casino, which is that length, it's a 35-minute drive regardless. Okay. It's ridiculous. And that's why, as Scotty made mention in the comments, I have an electric skateboard to get around the city. and I just skate to gigs. And I get there and I throw my suit and I do my gig and I skate back. It's not the way I love to represent, you know what I mean? Considering who I am, whatever else, but like it works well. Yeah.
Dude, the e-scooters are so helpful in the city, even for me. Like I think I talked about it during River Fire when some of the roads were closed. I could get in and out of the city on the scooter. So I second that.
Yeah. I also think that as far as considering travel and all and planning your routes, definitely pre like book your parking if possible, like in the multi-level car parks and so forth. That's a great idea. But also aim to get to your event 30 minutes before your starting time. You never know what's going to happen between that. You never know what traffic situation is going to happen. But if you're aiming to get there like bang on time, I wouldn't do that. Now, just when you allow that 30 minutes prior, you might get there 15 minutes too. But it's just this point where you don't have to have any stress level on your purse, like in your body, in your brain, about you not getting there on time. And sometimes you will get there on time, but you'll get to the event and you'll go to the venue and say, oh, I'm here for this event. I don't know where it is. I'm like, well, like sometimes the staff are not very helpful, or they put you into the wrong event, and you're looking for your client being like, are you sure this is the right one? No, it's the wrong one. And it's like, oh, like those things chew up time. Like if you're going to do a gig here, for example, at like Marvel Stadium, of which there's like several venues around Marvel Stadium, you know how long it takes to walk around Marvel Stadium? It's like a 2-kilometer walk in diameter. Like it's insane. So yeah, you do want to make sure that you have time for transit. And then, when you get to the event, you can just politely say to them, like, don't worry, I'm here early. I'm just, like I'll be starting in 10 minutes time. That's enough time for me to get myself ready. I'll see you for a whatever start. So for example, like what I do is I will text the client. I go, hi, just let you know, I'm in my green room. I'm just getting myself prepared, but I will see you for a 7 p.m. start. And I leave it at that so that they just know I'm here. They don't need to stress. All is well.
Yeah. The super helpful thing you can do on Google Maps now is you can put in the actual date that you'll be traveling and the time. So you can say to it, I'm going to be performing at the casino tomorrow and I need to arrive by 3:30 because your gig's at 4:30 and you got to sign in security, all that. And it will tell you, during this time, it can actually take between 1 hour and 2 hours. So we recommend you leave at this time. And now the amount of times that's helped me, because anyone from Brisbane driving to the Gold Coast knows that that trip can take anywhere from an hour 20 to 3 hours. And you don't want to be an hour late to your gig when you have 2 more to do after it. And it's just a nightmare. So prep the actual route. Yeah.
Waze. You ever use Waze?
Tell me again.
Waze, Waze. That's a really good means of pre-planning your trips as well.
I like it.
Yeah.
Let's look into Waze then. Scotty, you look into that and give us the brief in the comments. And parking, because venues, if you're performing at a venue at night on a Saturday, there's a really good chance there's like thousands of other people in that same area going to dinner or whatnot. So figuring out where you're going to park and like a secondary option if you think it's going to be full. And the secondary option could very well be you park a couple of blocks away and you just Uber 5 minutes to the venue. That has saved me a bunch of times as well. So what we're saying is just actually take active time to plan the travel of getting to these events. So far we've talked about stocking up, make sure you have everything of everything, and we're up to travel. Any other footnotes you want to add to travel, Nick?
Well, just one last thing before the travel is like sometimes you arrive at events and there's like inductions that you need to do. If you're performing at a casino or a large scale like convention center, they typically want you to go to security and sign yourself in as like a contractor to get to these events. Sometimes you go do that gig and you arrive on time, but then there's a whole line of people waiting to sign in as well. So there's very few places you will experience that, but just keep that in mind that if you are going to be at a convention center where they have these legalities and all these sorts of things in place, especially like with here, the Crown Casino, you definitely want to make sure that you're there because you have to go get this like stupid pass, and then they want you to go and drop it back in when you're done. I never do. I just take it with me. But it's look, I used to, but I'm like, screw this, man. It's such a pain. But yeah, and then there's been times where I've rocked up at gigs and people don't have their inductions, and they're doing their inductions in the corner. Like there's like 20 computers lined up, and they're actually doing their induction live. They're watching videos and doing an induction. Like, when you hear a sound go whoop whoop, does it mean escape or does it mean sit still? You're like, just get out of the building. There's an alarm going off.
All right, next thing is prepping different venue versions of your show. Now, what I mean by that is you don't know exactly what you're going to walk into at a Christmas event. It could be a very loud room. It could be outdoors. It could be, if you're doing a stage show, it could be a very small stage. Or it could be a stage show, but it's actually a stand-up cocktail event, which is one thing I'm going to experience, which fortunately, having a brief with the client, I found that out. And so now I can prep for it. But something to consider is making sure you have roving sets that can accommodate for really loud audiences that are all seated at tables, maybe eating, and really confined spaces as well. So what do you do in those situations, Nick? I guess these days we're used to just seeing the situation and going, okay, I'm going to do this type of set. But what are some things people can consider if they walk in and it's like, let's go with the worst one. It's like a packed, tight stand-up room, and you got to kind of like shuffle through to even get in.
The worst scenario is like, we want you to do a stage show. It's a packed, tight room, and it's shaped like the letter L. So there's people around the corner who aren't even engaged in like being able to see things, right? And then they go, oh, when you do a stage show, where's the stage? It's a half a foot off the ground, you know? So the line of sight is awful. Like the first, 6 rows of people are going to love it, but everything else is going to be porridge. So it's the type of thing that, prevention is kind of key when you ask them what it looks like. I'm in the fortunate position where I've been doing this long enough, and I've performed in enough venues in every single place this town has to offer that I know every room really, really well, right? And I've been there at least once before, typically. So seldom am I going to face this again. Now, there's been times where I have been thrown into this because you might be in a situation where, let's say there's, for example, the Riverside room at Crown Casino. When I do stage shows there, that room is narrow, but it is wide. So it's you here, but you've got, like, you want to talk about angles. There's people square right and square left. And you've got to find a way to keep those engaged, So when you know the room, super. What I also do to combat stuff is sometimes I rock up. Let me give an example. The last time I did this was I rocked up at a gig. They had an outdoor stage and it was raining. And I was going to do a stage show. To which I said, I think we need to pivot. And rather than me giving you a 20-minute show, I'm going to give you an hour rove. And I'm going to do it inside the venue as opposed to out the back where they wanted to have the stage. And I'm going to go from table to table, making sure everyone has a great time. And so what I mean by that is that you, as the professional, as the expert in these sorts of realms, is you want to walk into a situation and go, I think that's a bad idea. Here's what I would do, but it's your choice, is what I do with the client. They're like, well, we're going to put you over here in the stage. And I go, so here's the thing. I can do that, but I guarantee those people aren't going to see anything. That's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be a waste of your time and money. You don't have any lights. You don't have any audio. That's not the way to do it. So how about this? What if instead of me doing a 20-minute show, we do a 1-hour rove and I walk around the entire party, and that way I can guarantee that everyone will see some magic. But it's a privilege you've paid for. So if you want me to do that, I will do it. And they go, yeah, let's do your idea instead. Cool. And if they say, no, I want you on stage, no problem. You made the choice. You've taken the responsibility, but you've made them liable for their choice. And if it's the wrong one, they made that choice.
Yeah, really good points. And we had someone mention here, is good point to bring up. Hopefully you know what the setup is before you go to the show, right? Well, what I'll say is with all these Christmas gigs, people will have their rooms changed around. It's just a weird thing that happens during Christmas. they're planning to be in one particular venue, like function room, but at the last minute because of weather or because the venue's trying to fit in a different other event to come in, they'll switch them up. And this is exactly what happened to me on my briefing call yesterday. Was I found out that the client was going to have a seated event, and now it's going to be a stand-up event where I'm doing the show. And so because I know that, I can plan for it, but we won't always know, you know. Sometimes I've rocked up and the room they were meant to be in, they actually got switched, and now they're on the balcony space, which is now outdoors. So of course, do your diligence to always know like all the details. But when you like to shine some light on our calendars, like I looked at my first 2 weeks of December, right? First 2 weeks, I'm doing 15 events.
That's awesome.
And I can only look. Thank you. It is pretty amazing to be so fortunate to do magic like this. But like I have to, as best as I can, try and get as much info from those 15 people. But it's pretty common that like some of them are going to change their stuff, or like I'm just not going to remember all 15 environments I'm walking into, which is why this particular tip comes in handy. Be prepared to perform in different environments. It's just going to happen, and it's something we roll with. And, you know, it's part of the fun. It's part of the game, but just like be ready. They could all be a bunch of 75-year-olds, right? And now your set's going to change a little bit, you know. They're actually a very fun audience to entertain, but I'm just saying it's going to change things a tiny bit. Any other, before we go to the next topic, any other considerations, Nick?
Yeah, I think that, you know, so one of the guys is saying that, like, you know, this is the sort of things we should be figuring out. So let's touch upon, like, what sort of questions should you be asking when you have that phone call when someone says, I want you for an event? What's a sort of like small scale checklist without going too in deep about it, like that you would be asking the person asking you for like your pricing, etc.?
Yeah, like me personally, or
yeah, like I mean, so for example, when I was backstage waiting for Josh to jump on the pod, and I was literally taking an inquiry. When he jumped on, he was like, "Yo, yo," and I like help my phone. I'm like, "Inquiry." But yeah, so sometimes the first thing you do is like when someone says, "I've got an event, how much?" And you go, "Well, let me tell you. Let me ask you about your event. How many people are you having?" And if they're like, if they're saying like, "I want you to do a 1 hour show, there's 6 of us." Like, yeah, that's a bit much, man. I think we should do a parlor show, and this would be much better. Oh, okay. I've got 400 people. I want a 1 hour rove. For 400 people, you should have someone roving all night, you know? Like, and then you talk about it like that, you know, and you sort of like gather information. So I was going to ask you, like, what's sort of your checklist of things that you would ask?
Yeah, man. I think there's 2 parts, right, where we gather info. One is that, so we can quote on them, on the pricing. And then the second one is like the agreement or contract we send them when we're booking it. So we have it in stone, like all the details, which I can run down those little bullet points. But essentially, yeah, I think same thing. I ask an open question. I'm like, tell me about your event.
Yeah.
And then they'll generally tell me everything they can think of. If they don't, I'll say, like you said, how many people, what type of entertainment, like what in the best world, you know, best case scenario, like what is it from me that would be amazing for your event? And they'll be like, oh, if you were walking around and blah, blah, blah. And then if at the end you did one thing, that would be great in front of everyone. I'm like, okay, I'm gathering some info. Great. And then when they mention the venue, we probably know we've worked there before. We're like, oh, are you on the you know, the balcony room? They're like, oh yeah, okay. I'm like, okay, great. I know stage stuff doesn't work there because it's so open and everyone's close together, but this works really well. And so yeah, you're just trying to gather as much info about the event. I will say, I personally don't change my quote options depending on like how many people they have or whatever. It's just that, like, sorry, I don't change the price, but it just will mean now I'll recommend a different option of my pricing options, you know?
So we have these moments of discovery to make sure we offer the best service. And a lot of times, even if I get it in the form of an email, I'll say, oh, wonderful. Thank you for your inquiry. I have a few questions just to ensure I give you the best service possible. Could you please advise the following? All the way down. And I ask them whatever information I need to. So for example, they might go, we're at a restaurant, and I'll say, do we have our own private room at the restaurant, or are we just got a few tables? And if they're like, we got a few tables, and I go, cool, because what if I rock up and start entertaining people who aren't part of your event? You know?
Yeah. Or like, does the restaurant allow like a rogue entertainer to come in just for your tables if you're not in a private room, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And
which has happened.
Yeah. So there's little things that you want to discover. And I think one of the most important things as well, you know, is you got to make sure that you know their location as well. Because sometimes they'll go, awesome, we'll book you in. And then it's like, buddy, it's a 3-hour drive, you know? And then you need to make sure that you compensate for that. So
yeah. Now, 100%. Now, sticking on topic with the client. Oh, and so if anyone is curious what we ask clients when we're actually booking them, I'll just show it to the screen here. But you could, you could hit me up about this any other time. I'll just maximize it. You can screenshot that and look at it another time. But essentially, those bullet points are the questions that I'm getting them to answer. So it's just little things, the obvious things. What's the client name? Best contact number and name on the day. What do you want on the invoice? The date of the event, address, start time. Yeah, the start time is always crucial because sometimes they'll say that when their party is, but if you don't ask specifically when they want you, you can get messed up. Number of guests, what package, the fee, so there's no confusion later on. And will there be any other entertainment is another thing that's been helpful. Sometimes they'll actually put down, yes, there'll be a second magician. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. And then you can liaise with that guy and now you're doing different magic and you can coordinate it. But sometimes you just won't know. And then I will also ask them, like, is there a theme to this dress code? And Christmas time, there's a lot of like, I'm doing one that's an 80s theme. There's a Mad Hatter theme one. There's a safari one that I'm a part of. And so I'm just making these little notes so I can, wear a different tie or a different undershirt or have a bit of fun with it. But the other important thing is the actual confirmation emails leading up to the event and then the aftercare, like whatever you're going to send to the client after the event in order to like stay in touch or get a Google review or whatever. That can become a little tricky to stay on top of when you're doing more gigs than normal. During the week of the gig, Nick, do you make any contact with the client? Like, hey, always. I'm going to see you on this date. Yeah. What does that look like for you?
It's just a polite confirmation. So just to circle back, the last two things that on your list that I have that people might also want to add is that I ask, is there a green room? Because it just means you might not have anybody get prepared. And when I say that's kind of what's stipulated on the booking. Like I don't need a green room, but sometimes you do. Meals is another thing as well that I have on there, and parking. Because you might not have parking at this particular type of place. You know what I mean? Like, and all that means is like, they don't have to give you parking. You just on the booking form that you send them like production and lighting and meals and green room. Yes. And then parking, street. That's typically what's on mine that I send to them, sort of stipulating all that sort of stuff.
That's really clever. That's really clever. And sometimes the venues will actually say to you, we don't have on-site parking, but you can use our loading bay staff area for like just you because you're only here for an hour. And you never know if you don't ask them. That's really that's a pro tip if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. And then on the week of the event, I shoot them. So all that information that we've just spoke about, like that list, which is effectively like, for me, it's on the invoice I send them. So it's like, so I've got it under, because I use Xero. So I have under like magic performance, cost, and then I have terms, and the terms are all of that booking form showing like, this is the person, the contact and the name, starting time, end time, everything we just spoke about. I basically cut and paste that, send it to them and say like, hi there, just want to touch base before your event. Want to confirm that all the details are still correct. And they might go, oh, can we start at 7:30 instead of 7? And you go, and if it's possible to do, you say, yes, that is possible. But if not, not. But it's just a nice touch point to show that you're doing the best you can to ensure that you're taking care of your client.
100%. And the other thing you can do, sometimes I'll accidentally leave it a bit late in doing that confirmation. So what I'll do instead is to quickly liaise with them. Something I didn't mention is when I send a quote to a client, like if they've submitted a form submission through my website, that will have their email, their name, their phone number, I'll email them, but I'll always send a confirmation text message as well saying, hey, thank you so much for your inquiry today. I'm just letting you know I've sent your email. Let me know if you have any questions. It's just a double up in case it goes to a spam or, I want them to know there's 2 touch points now of communication, and sometimes they'll prefer texting rather than email. And so that's great. We can jump to that. But so I always have that communication in my phone. So sometimes if it's like the day before or 2 days before, and I'm like, crap, I haven't had time to email them.
Yeah.
I will send them a text and I'll be like, hey, Cheryl, just confirming, I'm going to see you this Saturday at 6:45. If anything's changed, let me know, And then they can quickly just like on the message, or they can message back as well with extra stuff. So sending a text message is a nice touch point, which can be useful because now they automatically have your number again for the night. Great. Opens up that dialogue.
Well, I think we covered a lot there, man. This is we should make like a pamphlet or something. Like this should be a book.
It should be a book. Yeah. Coin it. And then the last thing too. Yeah. So absolutely make sure you do that. And it's nice for the client too. It lets them know you've got everything under control, A second thing I want to note to that, and this is where I had been stuck in the past and now it no longer happens. Mm-hmm. Wherever it is that you write, you create your invoices. I'm really saying this to my past self, but I hope it helps someone else listening too. Whatever invoicing system you use to create your invoices, go back and look at them and just match them up in your calendar to make sure you've actually put them in your effing calendar so you don't miss a gig. Sometimes when you're on the go, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to quickly send the invoice to this person, but you didn't put it in your phone at the same time, or whatever system you have, right? So something that I consciously do now is I will go back and look as far back as I need to until I'm going back to events I've already done, and just check, oh yeah, I booked that person for the 18th. Is it in my phone for the 18th? It is. The time's the same. Okay, awesome. You just want to double check your own work. I just want to leave it at that. It's super simple to do, but it requires a little bit of a conscious effort.
What's also good is that if you do put it in your calendar the way I do, there is a search function in your calendar. So what you can do is you can literally go there, type in something, and then just basically say like let's say the client was like IBM. I could just go there and type IBM computers, and then everything will just go, yep, here's every time you've worked for them. It's
nice.
Yeah. There's one thing that Alex made here, a comment. It says here, Alex goes, I like to ask if there's any VIPs to impress to make sure that the person who booked me looks good. That's a good point. I don't do that in any of my communications, but I will do that when I arrive. So if my contact on the evening is, let's say it's Sarah, who's the assistant, I go, Sarah, I go, cool. If there's any VIPs, let me know who they are. Oh, absolutely. So that's my CEO. That's the blah, blah, blah. That's the district manager. That's the guy who's flown in from Germany. He owns the company. And then you go, great. I'll make sure I do something special for them. But I do that at the event so that she can point out every single person that I need to rock their world.
Really good point. Knowing those key people, especially if you know you might not get around to everyone. Super helpful. And then the other part of this with the communication is the aftercare of the client. Like once you do the event, you don't want to just say thank you at the event and then like that's it forever. Like you don't talk to them again. Like that is fine because like they're not expecting anything else. But sending a follow-up email, and if it's possible to send a follow-up email with more than just thanks for having me, leave me a review. If you can add, the goal is if you can find a way to add value to that follow-up email, then you're winning. And examples that Nick and I have now, I was just talking on behalf of Nick, but because we have a regular show, we can invite the client post-event. It was great to have you. If you ever have a night off and you want to bring your husband to see something on a night out, I would love to offer you free tickets to come see our show. Thank you for having me. And then at the bottom, feel free to leave me a Google review or whatever. Then great. They're going to do it because you've like added value. For me, I'm giving them a Google Drive link to the montage of the reactions I've collected in my Meta Ray Bans. So I'm going, thanks so much for having me. As promised, here's the link to the, some of your guests reacting to the magic. And then at the bottom, P.S. If you enjoyed the magic, feel free to let everyone else know with this Google review link. And then in brackets, I'm trying to get myself to 100 reviews, a little wink face. And really important, because that way, like, they can give you any feedback, or sometimes they'll say, actually, this person wanted me to give you their details. I'm going to CC you in on an email. That's happened a bunch. Anything else I'm missing, Nick?
No, I think that the aftercare, the wrap up is quite good. The only for myself, I don't do that as much as I need to, and I say that because I work for agencies, and a lot of the agencies I represent do that for me because I represent the agency and not so much myself. So, so Josh works his butt off, and I don't.
whatever. Look, we both have no hair for a reason, right? We're working hard in our own ways. But it is something you have to make a conscious effort to do, especially this season. It can be so easy to forget to do that. And so it can be really helpful. And if it's agencies that you are working with a lot, something to think about right now, since we're at the end of November, is what are you doing to thank your agencies? Some people will give them physical gifts or take them out for lunch or whatever. For me, a lot of the agencies that I'll do gigs for are interstate. So there's a website called Prezi, P-R-E, I think it's like ZZE, something like that. Anyway, it's a digital gift card, and I'll typically send them. If it's an agency that books me quite a lot, like for high-end events, I'll send them like a $200, $300 gift card or whatever to them, and then also like their assistant who's normally like in on the emails. Or something like that. And I'll do that for like the key 4 agents that I work with really well. It's super easy to forget. There was one year I just forgot to do it, and I just felt like an idiot because I just wasn't on top of it. But this is the point in the year where you can think about what am I going to do to just show them that I care. It doesn't have to be even money. It could be like a phone call, just to be like, I know this year's about to get insane, but I just wanted to like tell you that I appreciate you and thank you for this work. Or it could just be sending them a little gift hamper of, Christmas stuff, paraphernalia.
I make hampers.
Yeah. Or if you can hand make something, that's even better too, by the way. Yeah.
I go and get hampers, and then I just like buy, like I've been working for these guys for so long. Like I know that Daniel likes a bourbon, so I get him a bourbon. I know that,
perfect.
Shelley likes a sweet white wine, so I get her like a nice Moscato or something of that nature. Like she likes Shiraz. So
that's the best.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then
if you want,
typically do it after the crazy season. Because I've been too busy to pop in and see them, but I'll pop in and like, okay, crazy season's over. How was Christmas? Blah, blah, blah. And I tend to do it in the new year. And I go, this is for you guys. Just my little way of saying thanks for everything that you've done. And then I go, what's your plan for the year? And they're like, then they start sharing their plans with me. And then we talk about that. And I go, what can I do to help? And they're like, if you could blah, 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 blah. And I go, cool. I go, what's your plans? And I go, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I just want to make sure that the people who work for me are employed, because I work really hard on them. I train them, and they work in my residencies. They're getting a lot of hours up, and I just want to make sure that we're all working and we can all eat. And they're like, that's really awesome. Like, one agency recently, I got booked there. I'm booking all their magicians for them. They've got me down on their business saying, talk to our magic manager, Nick K.
Nice.
Like that's what the text says. So like I'm their magic manager, which is just, they just talk to him, everything you need to know. And I'm like, and that's so cool because it allows me to make sure that all of my guys and girls who work for me get work. And that's so important to me.
That's really clever. Yeah, doing it at the start of the year is wonderful as well. I guess now's the time just to plan what the thing is you're going to do. So Nick already knows, start of the year, bang. A lot of agencies will go on holidays like the last 2 weeks, like they're just not at their emails and stuff. So for me, just so I don't forget, because they all leave it interstate, I'll just consciously send them something start of December or middle of December, so I know they get it in time and they can use it, even if they use the voucher to buy their family something. They're always so appreciative of it, because you'd be surprised how many people they represent and just no one shows any thanks. And so, yeah, the aftercare of agents and clients are going to serve you very, very well. A little idea I had, and anyone can do this, obviously. I took it upon myself to sit down and just and film 5 tricks you can do with stuff at home that takes no effort. That's like a party trick. It's not like a routine or a crazy slide. It's just 5 little party tricks. And I reckon as your thank you email, you could send the thank you and then be like, oh, by the way, if you're spending time with your family this Christmas, here's 2 little party tricks you can learn straight away that you can perform at the Christmas lunch. And then, by the way, if you do want to leave a review, it would be a massive help. Here's the link.
That's great.
Super easy to do, but the little details are the hardest thing to keep on top of.
I totally agree. In fact, I've got a couple of little things, we're sort of at the end of what's happening, but there's a little something that we probably want to touch upon that happens in between all the craziness, and that is hydration and snacks.
Yes, bro. That was literally, it's literally the next thing on my list here.
All right, let's talk about it.
Pack snacks and electrolytes. Yeah. We're going between gigs. You got to plan your toilet breaks, when you're going to have snacks, especially when there's only, if you're doing multiple gigs throughout the city, for example, or even let's just say you're doing 2, right? You're doing 1 and then you're going to another one straight away. We don't think about it. Oh yeah, I'll just soldier on and I'll be fine. And normally you would be fine. But if you're doing that again the next day and the next day, December can really run a toll on your body if you're not prepared and you think you can just wing it because you're a young dude and you got a full head of hair like Alex Lamb. But we can't all be like that. So
how it's going to happen to you? You know how it's going to happen to you? It's going to happen to you like this. You're going to have a 2-hour gig from 3 to 5, right? And then you've got 1 hour to get to your next one. So you've got from 5 to 6 to get to your next gig because you're starting at 6:30. Then you got a next 2-hour gig. So from 3 to 8:30, you're not eating. You're not going to eat. You're just not. And you're not going to even realize it. And then you're going to be performing away and be I feel really fuzzy. I can't remember that person's name.
Yes.
I've asked him 4 or 5 times. All the stuff, right? Which spins me out because I know some magicians oh, I can't eat before I perform. And I'm that's nuts. It's my favorite thing to do, eating before a show and after. But
yeah.
So and the reason I bring that up, I was going to say, the reason I bring that up is that when it comes to food, make sure you eat even if you're not hungry, because you got to eat when it's opportune, right? Force yourself to eat something so that you will be okay.
Yeah.
Question?
And not a heavy meal either. A heavy meal is going to mess you up. The Mystery Box Studio is asking, what is Australia's #1 snack?
Good question.
I know my go-to, and you can get it at any major petrol station, is the chewy choc chip muesli bars.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think they're Uncle Toby's.
I have a box that I buy. It's 18, and I have my center console in the Tesla, and I just throw the whole thing in there. I just dump all the contents of it in there. And so whenever I'm in between gigs, I just reach in, grab one, and I'll just nosh on one while I'm driving. I also keep 2 cans of this stuff. So hydration wise, this is 100 plus. It's a recovery drink from Malaysia, and I fell in love with these a long, long time ago. 100 plus, and I buy them by the slab now from Amazon.
I can vouch for it. I had one at Nick's place, and it's delicious. But also, you feel like you've done something good for your body rather than just smashing a V or whatever for energy.
Yeah, because the caffeine will drain.
I have to agree with Scott Link as well. Snickers bars are incredible at a pinch. I got to say, I love a Snickers bar because it feels a little bit on the savory side. It's not as sweet.
Yes.
And it can power you through. Scott, by the way, none of this should be taken as nutrition advice.
No, it's survival.
This is survival advice in these situations. Absolutely.
Yeah. The same thing if you're an athlete. If you're an athlete and you're doing a 100-kilometer bike ride, buddy, you're going to like reach into your something and pull out a protein bar and snack on that. Something with nuts, something with muesli, something low GI to help you power through the next 50 kilometers of racing. You know what I mean? Like you got to keep fueling your system. It's exactly the same. I treat almost every week of performing as that, you know, as a marathon, if you will.
Yeah. So the note I put down here was to never trust the catering of an event. Like if they say they're going to have food for you, don't like plan that that's when you're going to eat or whatever. Have your own stuff ready to go. So yeah, the muesli bars or the crackers or the Snickers bar or whatever, just have them at the ready. I like to stay light, so I'll just snack on those things throughout the day. Hydrate. So what's it called? Something 100. That drink is
100 plus.
100 plus. If you can get your hand on that, that is a win. The thing that I find tricky is I'm a big fan of the energy drinks. So I will typically indulge in a V or something before an event. But the problem is you can't do that for 15 events over 2 weeks. So structuring that can be a conscious effort as well. Like when do I think, so if I allow myself, there's a mosquito. If I allow myself to have one a day, what point in the day am I going to allow myself to have it? You don't want to have it at gig 1 of 3 because you're going to peak too early. So you got to rely maybe on the snack you're having for gig 1. And then maybe at the end of gig 2 is when you sip half of okay, here's what I think. You have half of the V before gig 2. And then after gig 2, you have the other half.
Right.
For gig 3, and you're doing pretty good. But the thing I've discovered in the last few months, I'm not a sponsor of this, and I'm not saying anyone should get this. I'm just saying this has dramatically helped me, is the longevity mix produced by Brian Johnson's company called Blueprint. For anyone who knows of Brian Johnson's work, he's the guy who the tagline is he's the guy who's trying to not die. His tagline is don't die, but the premise is he's trying to find the purest and healthiest versions of all the foods we eat, and then he sells it through his company Blueprint, and it's the most purest, cleanest form of all the things you could need for everyday living, without microplastics. And they test and they find that companies that, even though they say it's 5 stars, it's actually processed and changes to be a little bit lesser quality than they think it is. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he put out this thing called a longevity mix. You can find it online. It's a powder you just put in your water and drink it in the morning. And I have to say, my like processing ability, my CPU, my like what do they call it? Like that fuzziness you can have sometimes in the morning, like that.
You mean kind of like what you're having now?
Yeah. You know what's funny? I haven't had it this morning. So that's probably why. Yeah. So your brain power seems to improve. Your cognitive function is the freaking word I was trying to come up with. My cognitive function is better. Yeah, brain fog, as Pasha's saying. My energy levels seem to be more consistent throughout the day. And it does have some boost in energy as well within it. But it's better than a V because it's like slowly releasing. Personally, that's something that seems to help me. And even as someone with Crohn's, for some reason, it actually settles my gut microbiome throughout the day as well. So my stomach is actually a bit better and more consistent. Not that should be a direct reflection of get that if you have this, but I'm just saying it has helped me as well. So anyway, how you start the morning is probably helpful as well. Like what breakfast are you having? All these things are like actually going to be important to get you through this season.
Herbert asked a really good question saying, what dental hygiene go to when you're on the job? What's your dental hygiene when you're on the job, when you eat crackers and stuff that leaves things in your teeth and whatnot?
Really clever.
Great question.
I mean, my simple answer is whatever I'm drinking or whatever, I also have water in my car. So before I get to the gig, I will down some water by like swishing it around my mouth hardcore.
Yeah.
Then I'll pop. I always have Eclipse mints with me. for some ASMR there. So I will pop 2 in my mouth before I go into the gig, but I'll also keep 4 of them, four loose mints in my side left outside pocket, so that every hour of the gig that I'm there, if it's more than 1 hour, I'll pop another 2 after 1 hour, so that after a while, because when you're just talking and performing for an hour, like, you know, your mouth gets a bit dry, and if you want to keep your breath fresh, I'll just grab another mint. So, and check in the mirror in your car too. Like, just check your teeth that you don't have like a piece of lettuce or spinach or whatever, because it just happens sometimes. So like, as far as hygiene goes, that's probably the precautions I'll take, and they're all lessons I've learned over time, which now is why I do that. Nick, any additions to that you found?
No, it's a good question though. I'm someone who chews a lot of gum, especially when I'm driving. Like every time I get behind the wheel, it's a piece of gum goes in and I chew while I drive. So it's one of those things that, like, as a close-up magician, you want to look good, smell good, you know, and have all the above. And so anything that could be offensive, you want to sort of get ahead of it. And that's a really good point that Herbert makes. And so, yeah, like, I mean, like the muesli bars can be a bit of a thing, but thankfully I get to the event, I check my teeth, you know, you can use the corner of a business card to pick something out of your teeth. You know what I mean? Like you will survive, you know, you will survive in that sense. So, but definitely do a check. Like, so sometimes I get to the gig and it's like, I'm just going to go to the bathroom and wash my hands real quick. And that's just me not only washing my hands to make sure that I'm good and clean before I begin, but just make sure my tie's on straight, make sure there's nothing in my teeth. I mean, sometimes you can just like grab a napkin and literally just up and down on your teeth like this, which is like giving it a little brush. Just put it in your mouth. Like I do it all the time. Like even when I wipe my mouth, I'll put it over my teeth and I'll go back and forth and just scrub them to give them that little bit of a clean, you know?
So look, guys, I hope this has all helped, or if it's made you think of anything else, put it in the comments as well, whether this is post or maybe in the Discord. Let's open this up in the Discord to continue. You'll find all the bullet points of what we've talked about in the episode description after this. But essentially the things we've talked about is making sure you are stocked up on playing cards, flash paper, batteries, business cards, everything, shirts, pants, as we found out. Consider,
like you need, like, think about it. If you're doing a show out in the country and there's going to be hay bales everywhere, and you have, like, if you're a sneezy kind like me, make sure you've always got your antihistamine in your bag.
Yeah.
Hay fever.
And maybe some pain meds as well, in case you get a headache after gig 3 or whatever. Consider your travel, pre-plan your route, your parking, your check-in with the client leading up to the event, double confirm the start and end time, pack snacks and pack electrolytes. Make sure you're stocked up on everything. You're going to get through it. You have the energy for it. And the other little thing that we didn't talk about, but actually funnily is important, is this is the time of year where you should start planning for your January. Like, what is your January going to be? Are you just full on taking the month off? Can you afford to take the month off? Are you going to run magic workshops because it's school holidays? And if you are, this is the time when you would start prepping for it, because you can't start prepping for that in January when you want people to turn up. So that's something you would actually start advertising, like as soon as school holidays begin in December, you want to start advertising that that's going to be available in January and February. So start planning what the hell are you going to do at the start of next year, because we all go through this wave of loving our career, doing so many gigs, there's plentiful, and then you go to 0 in January and you just like, oh my God, what am I doing? I shouldn't have spent this money and blah, blah, blah. So think about what January looks like. I know for myself and Nick has his residencies, but also we'll be doing our Theatre of Magic shows. Like, I know in Brisbane, we're going to be pumping them out every weekend. So fortunately, that's been put in place to ensure work can continue. But think about that as well. As we wrap up here, I'm gonna leave Nick with the final word today. I realize I've done a lot of talking, but I hope that this really brings you guys value in getting ready to battle down in the trenches. It's the best part of the year. It makes us feel alive, you know. But we just got to make sure that we're on top of everything. So we're gonna leave this episode by giving Nick the final word.
So as we said, friends, preparation is key in this type of thing. So it's also an opportunity that when you wake up that morning, make sure you drink enough water and you hydrate. Not so much that you got to pee halfway on the drive to your event, but keep all these things in mind to ensure that not only you can perform at your best, but you give your guests the best possible performance as well. So stick to it. I wish you guys a very, very profitable and fun Merry Christmas.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.